Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. I know it's been a while. Um, I thought I'd just make this just because I thought it was funny. And also, just a genuine question. Would this be considered a response video just because of what I'm about to say? And of course, it's really just simple, but it's also a little funny. Now, as you can see, this is 2 weeks old, 262 views, probably a little more if I refresh the page. And I pretty much just wanted to see their response. And as stated in the notes, if you're a person that skips around, I agree with Eruption Fang's take on Adam Torres from Ruby. It is just my opinion, my thought process. As in his video, it is his opinion, his thought process of how the story occurred. And it's been 2 weeks. I occasionally come back to this just to watch it because, it's fun. It's actually entertaining to see people who've never seen the series and are just getting snippets from other content creators or some of the songs, right? And yeah, these two, these two are alright because they're just, you know, normal comments. This one, as you can tell, 7 days old. There is a genuine opinion of what is here. This one, now I'm not just, gonna be bragging about why I disagree with them and whatnot, or agree with them. But this one, in short, might as well just zoom in the page, make it full. I don't entirely agree with, but I can see their point of view of why they believe in Adam's story happening the way it is and genuinely enjoying it. Although this part right here, where it says bit disingenuous, I don't agree with just because no matter what though, you've been there at the beginning of the show, you watch it as it progresses. So, no matter what though, those of us that actually liked Adam before Volume 4 even occurred, it was just, we had the trailer. That was it. As soon as Volume 1 was coming out, you have the substance there, which was just Blake. Blake talking about Adam. Volume 2, then credit scene, but it's still primarily Blake talking about Adam. That is fine. Volume 3, you get a cool fight, right? Because at that point, it's just been the trailer. But even still, it was, as Eruption Fang says, it delves more into just branching out of his ideology. That is it. And then we had our break to Volume 4. So, of course, at that point, you're waiting. A lot of people forget things. A lot of people take notes. Otherwise, words. Jesus Christ. Otherwise, what the hell? You know, there are those of us that won't forget, but, your opinion changes as the story goes on. So, naturally, no matter what, my opinion, I agree with Eruption Fang's take. That's it. It's just plain and simple. But then I see this comment right here. Just right here. There is no wasted potential. Everyone who says this is a sad little info. Now, this is not an opinion. This is just a statement. That's what makes it sad. And I thought this would just be funny because, you know, I only came to three conclusions so far when I first saw it. And my only thought process really is just there's no critical thinking involved at all. That's pretty much the first route. It's just plain and simple. They have no critical thinking at all. The second thought process that I have is if you're a person who is, if you wanted to be political about it, I would say a liberal, not a normal liberal, but or Democrat, whatever fuck you want to call it. The people with really bright colored dyed hair that believe gender is a spectrum and everything. I'm fine with that. Don't push your beliefs on the other people. Yada yada yada. Simple as that. But you can see how they are on the internet thanks to hundreds of videos, which is what makes it funny usually, especially considering that a lot of them are stupid. But then the third one is the only thing I can think of really as just a third option is if this person is a fan of the show, supposedly, because no matter what, this is assuming, and as a civilization, we continue progressing forward based off of assumptions. People who bitch and moan about that, fine with me. I don't care. If you want to stroke your dick that much, go ahead. But, you know, it basically to short summarize it is they could be one of the people that were basically, pushing for the Bumblebee ship. And not even like a normal one. One of the ones that, because wasn't there like however many people that sent death threats and shit like that to Rooster Teeth for the Bumblebee ship and whatnot? Or at least, the different members of Rooster Teeth at the time? That's the only thing I can think of. So basically, yeah, short term is just option one, no critical thinking. Option two, they're a colored hair dyed person that's on the delusional side of the spectrum, if you want to kind of, what do you want to say, turn their words against them, I would say, essentially. And then just the psychotic of Bumblebee shippers. That's about it. So, yeah, I just figured I'd make this little video because I found it entertaining. I know no one's going to find it entertaining. There might be like one person. People won't agree with me. I understand that. It's just an opinion. Because no matter what, though, unless you are actively a hive mind, agreements and disagreements are going to be everywhere. It doesn't matter what the fuck you say. That is it. Plain and simple. You like PB&J sandwiches? I don't. That's an opinion. People can agree or disagree. But, that would just be an example. I don't eat enough peanut butter jelly sandwiches, though. I eat mostly just jelly sandwiches. I haven't had one in a long time. But, this is getting off topic. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. I just found it funny. And what I even find more funny is no matter what, though, on YouTube, you can create any fucking name that you want. Like, it's plain and simple. Like with me, I just have Wolves Gaming. It was something else, I don't remember. And I thought about changing it because no matter what, though, I did want to make my channel just a gaming channel, but at the same time, it's just time, money, patience primarily. But time and money, you spend both of those doing different things. So I did want to do reaction videos at some point, just because there's a lot of shows that I haven't seen. There's a lot of games I haven't played. Some of them I'm trying to get into. Others, just like everyone else, opinions, preferences, certain tastes. You'll either find it enjoyable or you won't. Simple as that. But, and of course, as I stated in my last update video, which has been a long time, and I know I still have to upload the other videos, or at least get them scheduled to be uploading. But there is a project that I want to get done by December. It was originally for last December, but then a lot of stuff happened. Not detrimental stuff, unless you're a person who's very emotional. Then I guess one thing you can consider to be detrimental, the loss of family. That's about it. But it is something that no matter what, though, it takes time and skill. If you do any sort of 3D animation, then you can understand what it might be, which would just be an animation as stated. That would be my little gift to you guys who would probably watch it, probably not. Whether or not you share it, who knows? But yeah, it's just ah, it's just funny. Like it's not even disappointingly funny. It's just funny because it's simple. There's no substance to this at all. Like these, like this one is just the same person, but 2 days apart. There's substance here. There's a reason for why they agree with they agree. This one has a lot more substance. They go into detail a little bit of why they think that way. So, it is not terrible. These two, like I said, they're just there. I still don't know what the fuck to think of this person really. It's just unless I think of another possible choice of what type of person this might be, other than, the use of incel here. Not only that, but it's more of a condescending one, just because, it ends with a period. It's not an explanation point, which at that point I would say, if you wanted to assume, they could go into the whole homophobic and other shit, or they themselves are an incel. Because no matter what, though, isn't the whole original definition of an incel involuntary celibacy? So, it's not someone can't get a girlfriend or a husband, whatever. It's just, it is something psychologically done that stops them from making that progressional change. Then they would have to work on it themselves. Whether or not they'd actually be able to move past it, that depends on the person. But, I don't know. Not only that, but for someone who says this, out of all the names you can use for YouTube or just a fake account, whatever, why is it Megatron? Like, out of all characters throughout any show or any sort of medium, why is it Megatron? Because depending on the media, you could say, depending on your definition of incel, Megatron is an incel, right? You don't see him really interacting with any female Transformers, or I guess Cybertronians, whatever the fuck you want to call them, right? Because most of them are on Optimus's team, supposedly. I say that because, most of us who kind of gave up only watched the three first Michael Bay films when they came out. I haven't seen them since. So I didn't even watch any of the newer ones after that, which would be, what, Dark Side of the Moon or something like that. So something Kingdom. I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Or I guess back to the beginning of this video, it would just be, would this be considered a response video? Or would this just be considered an opinion? I don't fucking know. You guys can tell me. It's just so weird. Just this one, out of all of it. And not only that, but this is the Wolf Hunters reaction channel. Shout out to them to reacting to this, even if no matter what though, because they themselves are musicians. I have personally not heard any of their music. I've heard what is in their intro clip when they use it, but I do enjoy their reaction. I don't watch every single reaction. I've only watched the ones that I recommended slash commissioned through their links. But still, I enjoy it because it's basically an unbiased take. It is just simple, straightforward. So yeah, that's about it. Of course, there's a couple more coming in that I sent, whether it'll be later on today or coming in within this week. Meh. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I'm making this for fun. I don't fucking know if anyone's gonna watch it. Who knows? I'm just ranting at this point because it's so entertaining. Like it's just a psychological entertainment of you know genuine thought processes, critical thinking, and just your formulated opinions off of what you do know or what you have heard versus whatever the fuck this is. And of course, as you can see, there's two likes, there's a dislike, nothing here because, like I said, there's no substance. I'm not gonna be buddy buddy with you like, oh hey, this person said hi, I enjoy it. It's just, it's there. This one, as previously stated, there is an opinion here. There is a thought process to why they said what they said. It's not the best, it's not the greatest, but if you're someone with critical thinking and don't overly rely on emotions, there is a reason for why they said what it is. Simple as that. Like I said with this one as well, I can see where they come from. Don't agree with the disingenuous part, because, no matter what though, if you've been there from the beginning of the show and you don't rewatch any of the volumes, it's just whatever we've seen to each release, essentially. And then, like I said, random bullshit. Don't know what this is. Now, if you want a quick tidbit, you can watch their reaction to Ironwood's Semblance is a Problem by Russian Fang, or this one. And you can clearly tell who I enjoy in Ruby until they fucked it up. Or, in Rooster Teeth's case, it's not fleshed out properly. They could have done better. They should have done better. And no matter what, though, there is finance problems with any show. I can understand that. But, you know, you can do better than that. Like, even with Adam, if I wanted to be on a small tangent real quick, even if we go with Eruption Fang's uh, statement of he can stay in the story and we learn about him through osmosis, right? It's just we see the world changing through his actions, but you don't see what he is doing, right? Because that's the end of this video. I realized that you know this would probably be better if I had that going. No, I'm not gonna edit that out. That's gonna stay in because
Knew what to
if
do with
it
his character, when in reality Volume 1 and 2 did it the best. He's not in them. Adam never should have been a character who made frequent appearances. His influence in the White Fang should have been something that was seen through osmosis. How the general public reacts to Faunus, not seeing exactly what it is he is doing, but knowing that what he was doing was changing things. Keeping him as that fabled character Blake always talks about, or that endgame boss that our characters never wanted to encounter. Knowing that he was dangerous because he led what was essentially an army, but he doesn't need an army to be considered dangerous. That's the type of man everyone thought.
all right. So that quick segment right there, yeah, I agree. You know, it would have been cool, right? You'd get more world building essentially. You would see changes occurring. That's the long and short term of it, right? If they wanted to develop his character more and couldn't really figure out how to do it through the animation, supplemental material. They made the damn what the hell anthology mangas, right? Minor in storage unit, but yeah, there's that, and that reminds me. Um, if anyone's seen his Adam versus Raven video on that small fanfic manga, I did manage to come into contact with the creator on Booth, I believe is the website. And no matter what, though, me being me, I am on the younger side. Not now, but when that manga was released, I was on the younger side. You don't have money, you don't have a card, nothing. So can't can't blame them. I did ask if there was any plans of more resales. The answer was no, but they did say that if a numerous amount of people wanted to buy a copy, then yeah, a possibility of the creator restocking their product would come into play. Now I'm wondering if I should just share this onto Twitter. I would say that, but then there's gonna be like 200 people bitching and complaining, disagreeing with me, all that. Uh, long and short term, share this if you want to, I guess. Put your opinions in the comments. I'll probably post something on Twitter asking people if, you know, if any of them are fans of Ruby, of course, and, what their thoughts would be on getting hold of that particular fanfic. Now, for me, of course, if you watch a Rupture Fang video, don't know Japanese, I'd probably be like, can you use Google Translate? My logic go horribly wrong, but, I would like the original and I would like to get myself an English translation just because, no matter what, the credit always goes to the original version. Translations, there's always going to be errors. Some things aren't going to make sense, especially for creators and whatnot. If English is not your first language, there you go, back and forth. In my case, terminology. Terminology would just be the right definition. I have a lack of terminology. So even though English would be my first language, you could say a word, I would not know what it is unless I looked it up in the fucking dictionary. But even then, I'm more on the logical side in terms of thinking capabilities. You use a word, I'm gonna look at it in the dictionary, and then, you know, I like how this video just turned into a tangent. But then, from there, depending on how the word was used and so on and so forth, there's going to be disagreements and there's going to be agreement, right? Now, I'm not going to respond all the time because, there's no point. Agree to disagree, right? That'd be the easiest way to do it, unless it was going to be a logical debate, or in the other person's case, might be emotional, but you use emotions with me, there's nothing really there, right? Because if for that person, it might just be in the heat of the moment, not in the long term. Simple as that. That's just my thought process. That's my opinion. So yeah, I don't know. Like, dislike, comment down below. If you dislike, at least put down why you dislike the video, right? Because that's all I ask. Because it's not the fact that you disagree with me. It's I'd like to know the reason. Not because there's gonna be a debate, but because at least in terms of me, I can understand if it's critical thinking, simple preferences, or if you're for some reason like whoever the fuck Megatron 1384 is, where for some reason you just like to toss words around which don't make any fucking sense. But still, yeah, I don't know. Just gonna end it there. We'll see you guys next time. Keep on howling, stay safe, and if you're bitching plane, keep your tail up. Otherwise, I don't know. I was gonna say something very, very sexual, but I'm not even worried about YouTube about it. It's just, I don't know, it would sound really weird. Not even a bad weird. It just sounds weird and out of context, out of nowhere. Uh, anyways, see you guys next time.